You know it's going to be a good episode start when you're just bridging in the nether over lava. And you know the episode's going to be off to a very smooth start with this many beds because nothing can go wrong. Got some debris here. Got some more up there. Even more. There's debris. I only really put two and two together that I had a bamboo wood farm and a wool farm, and I could be using the resources from both of those to mine debris. There we go. Don't mind if I do. Alright, these are my last, what, 7 beds? Let's make these count. There we go. Oh, 2. Let's try it this way. Woo! Okay, maybe let's try the other way. Please be one more. Oh, it doesn't look like it. Guess we just gotta head back with our 11 debris. Why are you here? We have enough debris for 3 bars, we just don't have enough gold. Also, my helmet has been off, and I don't know why. I don't have a netherite upgrade template. I hate nether traversals so much. Okay. Okay, I guess I love nether traversal now. We made it. Why are you trying to shoot me? I am in danger here. I think I did that without being noticed. Okay, I managed to spleef him. Problem is I am very scared from here. Oh my god, these guys are terrifying. I really don't want to be knocked to lava. There it is. I'll take the bending leggings as well. I guess 2 spare diamond helmets wouldn't hurt. There we go. And soul speed 3. That's the jackpot. A lot of bad guys, a lot of bad guys. That's the jackpot. I kind of forgot how I got here, but I think there was a bridge that I made, right? Yeah. At least we got more gold along the way. God, these template upgrades are so expensive. Let's get soul speed on there. And also get these 2 looking nice. I actually do want to take this moment to show you guys how I go about my building process. So we are designing palm trees right now, and you can see that I've cleared out one of the tall trees in order to get some logs for it. But if I take a step back from around here, which is where I expect it to be viewed, kind of by the ocean, you can see that we have all this empty space right here. So my first thought is, if we get a building here, then what? And I think if we get a palm tree that kind of sticks out of the side, we can fill that space. And we get a more upfront palm tree around here, then we'll be able to also fill out this gap right here. So what I typically do is I place a single block as a marker, take a step back. Okay, this needs to be pushed back a bit more forward. So I break that, and I try again. And all I have to do is I just have to repeat this process until I am happy with where the thing is selected. This is how I've gone about building my structures, and this is how I'll go about doing the trees. I also then go over here and think about, okay, this is kind of an awkward angle. What can we do to fill this space? So I'm thinking if we get another house here and we get like 2 alleyways going, maybe a path over to where I plan my grove area to be, then it can look nice. But we won't be using trees here, and we might actually extend the shoreline just so we have a bit of a larger path to walk on. Also, a quick tip, if you're going to be building in sandstone, I recommend you always mine sandstone instead of actually crafting it, because this sand can be used to patch up creeper holes like the one that I'm in right now. And additionally, 4 sand only gives you 1 sandstone, which is really not good for grinding. Plus, if you have efficiency 5, you can insta-mine it, even without a beacon. So back on the topic of trees, usually I do about 1 or 2 blocks, maybe even get one on the side, and I will branch out diagonally and create either a 1 or 2 block kind of protruding area. Then I go back inwards, and that serves as the wooden base for my palm tree. So now what I do is I remove these, and suddenly we have a really nice shape. And already I'm going to adjust to that. And if we get a zoom out, that's kind of the angle that I'm going for. I might tilt this over a bit, but you always want to get a step back before you really do any major commitments to see if you're happy with the angling and stuff, because once it's built, it is a nightmare to deal with. For the actual leaf portions, what I typically do is I start with this kind of shape, and then I just place blocks until I'm happy. Which, having access to free cam does make this very nice, because if I quickly move out of the way, then I can get a quick view from the outside, and I can see if I trim off this corner block, and then also mainly get a leaf that's more drooping down from the back, then it will tie the whole shape together. So I've just taken down the scaffolding, and what I notice is the tree kind of curves a bit too much, as if it's curving twice. So I am going to see if I can make it look a bit more like it's tilting in one direction, and then it's kind of looping back around. And I think something like this looks good, where it kind of has a bit more of a upper support on the side where it starts from, and then it kind of falters over, and then it spirals back around. I'm also going to get a look from back here, and I think I'm going to add a little bit of more depth on this side. Maybe just like 1 or 2 blocks, because I still want to maintain the nice angle. But from the backside, which is where I'll also be viewing it from, I think all I have to do is just add maybe 1 or 2 leaves around here. And suddenly we have a really natural looking palm tree that is presentable from most, if not all, angles. I might experiment around with this corner block. Now, another important thing to keep in mind when building is you want to have a sense of consistency. So the lampposts that I have set up around the village are made up of either 1, 2, and sometimes 3, yep, like right here, spruce fences and a lantern on top. And then additionally, the path is made out of sandstone, birch planks, birch buttons, and there are these tiny little jungle bushes with this dry grass kind of flanking around the path, outlining it better, and then the occasional birch fence posts. So I want to stick to having these used, and hopefully it can help make everything feel a bit more connected. So after a little bit of building, and I mean quite literally a little bit of building, this place looks a lot more alive. But the reality is that I just kind of followed a path that I think I will take, and without even doing much terrain work, like you can see here is unfinished, and later over there it's unfinished, I outlined a basic path that I will want to travel, which will extend over here where there will be more things. And then from there, I got myself some of these little bushes kind of scattered around. And you might have seen that this bush is a lot larger, and that's because I still wanted to kind of pop from a distance, so it needs that extra size. And then we got some fences around. I kind of started sprinkling in these pieces of dead grass to fill in the dead space, which I purposefully left this area kind of ambiguous. I haven't cleared out this bush yet because I don't really know what I'm going to put here yet, so I have to figure that out. And then to wrap it all up, I got these lanterns scattered around. Some are hanging from the buildings, some are attached to the buildings, but the majority of them are on these lampposts, and hopefully it should keep this place lit up. I love villager trading. Oh my god, he is scamming me. Alright, that's all the... Well, I guess there's a bit more I can spend. But this is basically all the sticks that I want to spend for my bamboo farm. And that is 8 mending books, which is good, because it's about time that I actually get mending out all of my tools that I have, as well as a proper diamond hoe. I did not miss this noise in the slightest. I forgot how messed up your FOV is with soul speed, like, whoa! Hey, I'm back. Part of the problem is apparently I was recording on Quake Pro, which is really weird. I don't typically record on Quake Pro, but I think the soul speed FOV change is multiplicative, because you can see it doesn't really change that much. And if I have an even lower FOV, it barely changes at all. But then as soon as I crank it up, then suddenly I can see everything around me. I wasn't recording, but I just got a wither skeleton skull from a kill. We need 2 more, because I want a beacon very bad. And so I began looking, and it was so boring, it lasted a full day, because I got bored and fell asleep at my desk. And I found a whole other fortress in hopes of finding better wither skeleton spawns, but that place was a barren wasteland, so I just went back to the main one. I am currently a bit in trouble because I've noticed that skeletons, for some reason, I think it might have to do with the biome, they kind of only spawn around this area. But already I got a second skull, so we're in the home stretch now. Okay, but what if that was the one? I've also found that running away from an area and then running back seems to respawn them very fast. Like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. Oh! There we go. And it only took 32 wither skeletons. So I'll call it a successful trip here, and I'll do some final preparations for the wither. Remember this arrow from episode 1? Now it's like an actual arrow that points me in the right direction. Which is a bit embarrassing that I still need it, considering I've spent a lot of time in this world. So, we are currently building a tunnel right in the cave, because we want to get things set up for the wither. And I just want a very nice and very clean arena for the wither. I don't want to do it on like the surface or anything, because I feel like that's going to cause a lot of damage. So we're just going to continue digging. This tunnel isn't the longest in the world, but I think it'll do for this. Alright, bring it on. This is exactly why you want to make a tunnel against this guy. So what you're seeing right now is his second phase, where he's immune to projectiles and follows a lot more closely, and that makes him, by extension, go a lot faster. But even that was not enough for him to beat me. And we didn't even get that far in the tunnel. But now we can go ahead and do the finishing touches for our own beacon. But did you guys see that, like, arrow at the end? I don't know how that didn't hit me. I also still don't really know my way out of these water caves. You know, maybe in the future I actually work on making this, like, a proper trench that I can enter without getting lost and confused. But one of the perks of having this better shoreline is that it means I can easily swim back up without having to use the side tunnel, which I promise I'm going to get to fixing that up eventually. So anyways, we're here for a quick routine checkup on the iron farm, and I am going to spend a bit crafting up iron blocks now. Which, as you can see, I'm kind of running out of space here. And thanks to the power of editing, you guys don't have to watch the full thing, and I was able to compress it down to 6 seconds. So we're still going to have to obviously redecorate at some point and get this more cleaned up. But I think the general plan from here is, in the future, I will build an item sorter so we can separate all the poppies from the iron. And then from there, we'll have the iron automatically be crafted up into iron blocks, so I don't have to do it manually, which while I'm here, I'm going to take all of this. And we'll have a separate storage system for our iron and for our poppies that automatically gets filtered, so I don't have to come by every so often. Because this thing is ridiculously efficient, considering how long it took for me to make this, And I've had to constantly keep up with trying to filter through everything and craft up all the iron blocks and stuff like that, which is not a problem now, but if I want to build something that needs a lot of iron blocks, or even just a lot of iron, then it's going to get dicey. So I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop into a quick time lapse where I clear out basically a lot of this area. I want to get most around this tree here, and I also want to get the area behind my base. So I am going to grab some sand, and I am going to be on my way. What are you doing? None of these look really good, except for the open eye blossom, because I don't know where a pale garden is. I think I'm just going to let that wandering trader be. I think I've got pretty much everything that I'm going to need to get this area cleared out. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter a quick little time lapse and get tidied up. So you ready? Let's do this. I am seriously having too much fun with this build, because what I promised to do was clear out all the space, and I do not know why there's a grass block there, but I'm going to have to take it down. And yeah, I've got the area that I needed mostly cleared out. There's still a creeper hole, but this is going to be one big structure. But then I also was like, oh, I'll make a little bit of terrain going through, and then get some leaves, and then get a path, and then decorate the path. And now suddenly I have this entire area just fleshed out and almost completely ready, because at this point I need to brush up on parts of the path over here and making it a bit more well-defined. I need to bring out this coastline a bit, I need to build the bridge, and I need to make our central structure, which I took a peep at what the schematic will make it look like, and you guys are going to love it. Don't mind me just picking up after myself. There it is. So I've done a little experimentation, and I lined up these for part of the build, and I found that this will be the center of the main building, so I'm going to go ahead and construct a fully maxed out beacon here. So I kind of dug a bit too far downwards, but that's fine. It was better safe than sorry. And if I place this down, then we should have a fully powered beacon. This looks so cool when you're just like walking down the path and you see this big beam of light come out of what is pretty much the center of this jungle. So it has kind of this same-ish distance wherever you view it from, and that's awesome. So if we put in a diamond, click haste, and press haste 2 as our secondary, we will now have haste 2 whenever we're near the base, which means that feels so nice. The big thing is that the haste actually lasts over here, which means I'll be able to dig out all of this really fast and possibly even further out beyond the Allay farm. And this one's for the people who have been around since the first 2 episodes. We're finally giving Silky Smooth efficiency 5. So now I get a bunch of free stone. You also might have noticed, I'm not sure if it was in the recordings or not, I don't really want to raise my happy gas right now, because that's not for this episode, and that's a bit too much of a babysitting job. So I'm just going to leave these little guys here where, you know, I'm sure they'll be fine. A little bit of resource gathering later, and check it out. This is exactly why I needed a beacon. So what I did was I cleared out... I'm going to have to light this up. So I think I'm going to grab my bow. I am going to light up the basement, and we're going to do a quick little time lapse of me constructing what I've been building up to this whole episode. They don't pay me enough for upkeep around here. Also, I've been hearing this zombie and this baby zombie. So I think I've just genuinely had enough of them, and I'm going to evict them. Hey, you guys need to leave. Oh my god! Alright, eviction completed. Now I just gotta clear the infestation. Don't worry, one day you guys will be used for something. Quick checkup on the wolf farm, and a quick snooze. And with everything sorted out, let's get to building. Welcome back, and check this out. This was completely designed by me in creative, and I just kind of freestyled a lot of the shapes and stuff, but I think that it turned out excellently. You can't really get up to this top area, but what you can do is go inside, and I plan on having a vault-like area where there's like all this gold and like treasure and stuff scattered around, and soon these will all oxidize, so they have this nice green color that complements everything. But if you just take it all in from a distance, and believe me, this was designed so you could really just take it in from pretty much any angle. You can see all the little intricate shapes, you can see the stairway. So I did a lot of the depth by alternating between using these walls, but also using these upside down staircases and even these sideways ones, as well as some slabs mixed in. And I could have done a bit more by mixing in some stone and maybe a little bit of andesite with the bricks. But overall, I am, and I know I say this a lot, extremely proud of just everything that's happened. This was also designed in mind for once I get an elytra, which you can see some of my rough terrain work down here that I'll need to fix up. But this was designed so that you could actually fly over it. So once I get a pair of wings, I'll be able to see this from a very nice angle. And part of that is hiding these little bits of glowstone underneath these gray carpets because they really blend in. And I actually ran out of glowstone, so I decided to use these torches, but it creates these nice little dust particles that almost kind of look like that this place is just being walked on for the first time in centuries. And it just really ties everything around here together. And now it's time to build the bridge. Dramatic lighting off. I'm not building the bridge this episode. I don't know why I keep putting it off, but I cannot bring myself to finish this bridge, and this will remain a project for yet another episode. But I'm going to call it here, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. And if you did, just recommend it to some family, recommend it to some friends, people who you think might like it. And while you're down there, might as well subscribe, right? Even then, that's not really my focus of this. I just want to entertain people. And, if I was good dinner content for you, or just something that made you smile during a lunch break, then you know what? My job is done. That'll be all for me, though. And next time, I have a concrete plan. We're going to figure out what we're going to do with here. And I am going to finally get around to building this little fishing hut here, which I keep dancing around. I'm going to finally build the bridge. And I'm also going to work on the interiors of all these buildings, which some of them already kind of have interiors, but I want to expand them a bit more. And then I want to actually turn these into completely alive buildings with things going on inside. And who knows? There might be something else I have planned, but you'll just have to wait and see. See you guys. Love you all.